My name is Bibisha Muhima. I joined for housing in 2018. I'm a neighborhood advisor. In my spare time, I love cooking and spending time with my family.
My name is Beatrice Mburu. I work with the waste management team, part of the enterprise team. I've been here since 2019. In my spare time, I love nature, traveling and spending time with the family.
My name is Eric McBean. I'm the Enterprise and Innovation Leader for Housing. I've been for Housing since 2013. Outside of work, I like jazz music.
Sometimes we don't even know how we are perceived, and we could react differently if we knew how we were perceived. So sometimes, let's have a good example of perception, is that you might think that I need to put a suit on today because we're going to do some filming and I need to look smart. Perception's a thing that can also lead you astray as well.
With our department as well, because we are the first point of contact. There's like a dress code. It's just because you're going out there.
Is it a dress code?
Yeah, for us in neighborhood, like advisors. Now I think there's no dress code anymore. But when you're in the office, you have to look smart. That's why I think men will have like shirts or nice jumper.
And you think, is that a challenge for you, or?
I don't think it is a challenge. Because if we do, looking back for me, I would say we take work seriously. So from a young age, you're going to work, you have to be dressed for work or dressed for church, something like that. It's like a culture, I don't know if I'll call it cultural thing. You're not going to see someone going to work looking I'm just going to go there, making the effort.
But keeping on that topic of perception, do you feel that you have to try harder to look more formal than your colleagues?
I think there's time where I feel like I have to stand out.
Stand out? Okay.
When it comes to,
How would you stand out?
Well, I mean,
you don't wear 6-inch heels just to stand out, do you know what I mean?
You'll be surprised. When I'm in the office, I always wear heels. Never for the 4 years or whatever we're in the office.
Not trainers, no?
Even my trainers have to have a little bit of
heel.
It's not like a flat.
No.
It's but I love it though. Looking smart.
Okay.
It's like making that effort. I'm going to the office, I'm going to work.
Right, okay. So is there a different perception from colleagues, and you think from tenants, how you would look at work?
Yeah, for colleagues.
Would they treat you any differently if you wore a t-shirt and
I think for
leggings?
People coming in, they will treat me different. They will not take me serious. That's my view.
Could it be our views really, or is it
Is
it that the way we feel that they feel or they perceive us, or is it just in our minds most of the time as well? Because we've been brought up, we've been brought up, or the culture is, if you're going to work, you've got to dress smart for work. So if you say, even like say at work, you're told it's casual Friday, but then if you decide to do casual, but you're super conscious because you're thinking, you feel like it's going against you as a person, and then you think, are they seeing me that way? Where sometimes could it be that it's just us perceiving ourselves or being super harsh on ourselves as well, that we don't, or we feel we have to make that extra effort because we have to. It's like everything we have to do, we're doing extra. We have to.
Is that pressure from the business or pressure from ourselves though?
I think it's pressure mostly from ourselves. Mostly from ourselves.
Yeah, because you are going to. Your mind is, I'm going out, I'm going to represent. Mine is ongoing.
Yeah.
Because for me, I would say growing up was like, remember you're going out, you're representing your father, your name, your family name.
Yeah.
So don't let us down. So you've got that
Yeah.
responsibility on your shoulder already that I'm not gonna let my parents down, so I'm going to win.
So it starts at home.
Start at home.
Yeah.
And surprisingly enough now, I'm my mother and my father talking to my kids when they're going out there. Remember,
Yeah.
you know, people, when they see you, they see me.
Yeah.
And so I think it's that push. I think it's not really just work, but we've got it in our DNA.
Yeah.
Anyway. It's just there. I think that's what I was. It's just. It's not like you're planning it, but it's there.
Yeah.
It's there.
Our expectations as well. We've got high expectations of ourselves, and we don't sometimes. Other people or other people might not have as high expectations of us
Yeah.
like we do, so we'll try to prove a point, you know. We're trying to prove it's like it's constant.
I think it's a good point now, because it kind of flips it where sometimes people have low expectations of you, and it's like, you know what I mean. That's the other challenge with black people, is that it's easy for people who are not black to use another black person as a reference point.
Reference point, yes.
Do you know what I mean? So the expectations of other people on us can be quite different. Sometimes the things that I think go against me, one is my name. On paper, I'm the opposite, so to speak, than when I turn up. And if you
accent?
Accent, which is I think fairly neutral, except for the Brummie bit. Do you know what I mean? But you wouldn't really pin me down to say, oh yeah, your parents are Jamaican, or your parents are Caribbean, or your parents aren't from the UK. So that is the as an advisor, do you know what I mean, or a consultant, going into your first meeting, the presumption is that you know the least, and sometimes I can use that to my advantage as well, where people expect you not to know as much just because. And it doesn't matter about your appearance, you know what I mean. You can put a suit, you can put a shirt on, but the perception is that, you know what I mean. So it can be hard work just to try and get across your credentials to set the scene. Do you see what I mean? And sometimes as black people, we have to have more credentials to do something where we don't need all those credentials. So somebody might be more comfortable with you because you've been in the position since 2018, but somebody else might only have to be there for 6 months to have the same respect in that position. People think waste management really is all about men. Waste management is all about big, strong people. Do you know what I mean?
Muscular.
Also, it's about you know what I mean. It might be that we as black people are the workers, and the white people are the supervisors and the managers, and that's the glass ceiling that we have. We're talking 3 years nearly down the road. B's the supervisor now, supervising other people that aren't black. Do you know what I mean? That's a major juxtaposition there, and it's like B's the go-to person, and I know some people might find that quite challenging. You know what I mean? We have had a few staff that find that challenging.
Or even the public as well, because we've been out, and because it's waste, and when people come to ask questions, they won't come to me because they don't think I would know much about it. You know, coming into this position, I remember we had conversations with Eric, and I was like, I have to, like, for us, especially black women, you never tell a black woman that there's something you cannot do, because they're gonna do the extra just to make sure to prove a point. But for me, it wasn't even as much as proving a point in a negative way. It's in a point that it's opening, it's give everybody equal chance, because if it was somebody else, it wouldn't be such a challenge. And for us as well, being a waste operative, we wouldn't, not many black people would go into
Went
that
to
area
yeah.
because they would tend to think that's kind of like the lowest of the
Lowest.
low.
Yeah.
So you think of cleaner, so you think that could be even worse than a cleaner. So I don't want to be starting there, but because of the perception, again, it's because of growing up in parts that we've grown up where that gap or whatever you do, it's kind of like a measure of who you are. But I think one of the challenges here is trying to prove that whatever the role you're doing does not necessarily define who you are as a person, but you can contribute as much in that role as in any other role.
And I think progression is important because we all have examples, I say, of people who've been in a certain job for the same job for like 20 years, the same position, and you think, really, did you not have an opportunity at some point to up and see? Maybe in the past, sometimes those opportunities probably aren't as equal as they are now, and yet don't present themselves as an opportunity. Whereas I try and encourage to say that this is an opportunity. You have to look at it as an opportunity rather than there's definitely no way I can go from pulling bins to supervising the team to managing budgets. You know what I mean? That there's progression, but it's a thing where you think that I don't know that's not for us. We haven't got the what's the right word? Like the stickability kind of thing. And I just think it's important that we try. So I think, you know, when I do, as I say, take your hat off to people who come through the ranks to get themselves to a certain position. But what we need to demonstrate more is to find a pathway for other people to come through as well.